I'm going to keep the mic moving right along, though. Next comic coming up to the stage, it's another good friend of mine. He actually popped his comedy cherry here at the Checkpoint Comedy Open Mic a few months ago. Yeah. He's been back ever since. It's one of my favorites. Put your hands together for Freeman! Another man, everybody! Breaking shit. I'm breaking shit here.
Thanks for putting it that way. It's fucking great. Great. All right. Well, we live at a great time. The dad bod is finally considered sexy. Yeah. Ladies, eat your heart out, okay? I've been sporting the dad bod since I was in junior high. Yeah. This is just just the way it should be. Back when I was young, Sears used to do a lot of fat shaming before fat shaming was cool. They had a whole section of clothes that was called, like the tough skin jeans were in the husky section. So that's how you knew you were a chubster. Is you had everything in the husky section. Yeah, I'm at this age where I'm getting thicker in the middle and thinner on top. So I'm losing my hair all the time. It's kind of depressing. What's really depressing is when you go to the barber shop and the barber, you just say you need a fucking haircut, and he cuts his hair the way they cut everyone else's hair, right? And it's short on the side and long on the top. And I'm like, dude, that really doesn't fucking help me out at all. I'm getting really close to either just shaving my head or going with the Matt Lauer. Yeah, that short hairdo, not the anal sex in the country. Yeah. Not that Matt Lauer. I think it's kind of interesting. I've been a teacher for a long time, and you see kids, and sometimes kids look a little silly and goofy, and they wear weird stuff. Sometimes it's clothes, or maybe it's the hairdo. But I see some kids that walk around with the sports glasses on. Have you guys seen these? They're like prescription glasses like NBA players wear. And I'm always thinking that the little kid that's in third grade is hoping for some spontaneous basketball game to happen. But it never does. That's all right. I am at that age where the time change fucks me up. And it's not a good time. It used to just be, when you're young, you're in your 20s, the time change really doesn't affect you because you drink too much the night before. It's just like any other weekend. You wake up, it's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't really mess you up. But when you get a little bit older, I noticed it started to mess me up on Monday. Like Sunday wasn't so bad in a time change. And it's either time change. But the fall one, this one was really tough. I'm at that age where the 1 hour time change fucks me up for a week. And I'm just dragging ass all week long. So that's not good. No.
I am, and I'm a teacher. It's terrible.
Oh, the problem with the glasses?
No.
Oh, the sleeping. Yeah, it's. I travel to a bunch of different schools, so I have time in my schedule, and I've mastered the 8-minute nap. Yeah, really, I can take a nap in my car. I'll be out cold for 8 minutes, not have any idea where I am or what time it is or where I'm even supposed to be. So I think the only thing we should import from Mexico is the siesta.
Tequila.
Yeah, well, tequila would be good too. I've had the same experience with tequila as I did with the siesta. Just waking up, not know where the hell you are. You're like, God, what the fuck day is it? Where am I supposed to be? Jesus, this sucks. Last weekend, life is kicking me in the ass a little bit, so I decided last weekend I wanted to watch some motivational movies. So I picked a great motivational movie to watch, and I binged a couple of these. I watched some of the Rocky movies. Yeah. Right? These are great motivational movies. They are. I watched Rocky 1 back in the springtime, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch Rocky 2. It's been a long time since I've seen Rocky 2. And I watched Rocky 2, and I watched Rocky 3, and I started to watch Rocky 4. And here's what I've noticed about the Rocky series. Rocky likes to fight a lot of black dudes. Now, I'm not saying Sylvester Stallone's a racist. I'm just saying this guy likes to beat the shit out of black dudes on video. The real motivation is not Rocky Balboa. The real motivation is Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why. He was in the first Rocky movie. He beats Rocky, even though Rocky was against all odds to make it to the end of the fight. He did, and then it was victorious, and that's the motivational part. for Rocky. In Rocky 2, Apollo Creed wants to come back and kick his ass some more. So he does, right? He sets everything up and he has the second fight, and that's when Rocky wins. In Rocky 3, Mickey dies. At the beginning of Rocky 3, Rocky has to fight like 10 different dudes to maintain his title. 6 of these dudes are black dudes. All right? Just a coincidence, I think, but I'm just throwing it out there. Then then what does he do? He trains with Apollo Creed so he can fight Clubber Lang, another black dude. Now, Apollo Creed, staying with the Apollo Creed theme, Apollo Creed trains Rocky in Rocky 3 just so he can fight him again at the end of Rocky 3. Then in Rocky 4, that's when Apollo Creed gets killed by Ivan Drago. Now, that's not the end of Apollo Creed, because Rocky's son is such a world-class puss, they made a movie out of Apollo Creed's son, not out of Rocky's son. So I think the real motivation ought to be Apollo Creed. And it might even be Carl Weathers, because here's the deal. Carl Weathers was in 4 Rocky movies. He was in Predator. He was in Happy Gilmore. And what else? That's what I'm talking about right there. Right? That is what I'm talking about. It's all about Apollo Creed. Driving is a pain in the ass here in Massachusetts. I'm sure you guys recognize this. This year, actually last year, August of last year, Allstate has come out and said that Boston is not the worst place to drive anymore. It's Baltimore, Maryland. Boston's been the worst place to drive for the previous 4 out of 5 years. The other year that Boston was not the worst place to drive, it was fucking Worcester. That was the worst place to drive. Yeah. This is one of the things I find really frustrating about driving, and this happens to me all the time. I'm sure you guys have seen the Boston left. The Boston left is when you get in the left-hand lane and you get in the left-hand turn lane, and when the light turns green, not when it turns into a green arrow, it turns green. You fucking gun it, right? Everybody does this. It's fucking illegal. It's completely illegal. The other thing that makes me crazy is when I'm turning from a side street onto a main street, and the traffic from the left will stop to let me out, because they think they're being nice to me, but they're being assholes to every single person behind them. Yes. This happened to me twice yesterday at the same intersection, trying to get onto the road. And they don't realize that there's traffic coming from the right. And if they just fucking look, they'll see this. And I'm not going to pull out in traffic. Now, I've talked to guys that are in the insurance business, and they said, yeah, if you pull out, if they stop, and if I pull out and I get hit, I'm at fault. That's fucking ridiculous, but people do it all the time. So 2 weeks ago, bring my daughter to Southbridge to the RMV to get her driver's license, and she's doing a great job, right? I'm right in the back seat, the instructor's in the passenger side, she's driving. Lo and behold, what happens? We're turning into a main road in Southbridge, somebody flashes their beams to let her in, and she pauses for a couple seconds, and then she went. And the instructor's like, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. That person's a fucking idiot, and they shouldn't have turned. And I'm like, I know! Jesus, this makes me nuts. I said, I've been telling my kids this for years. And he's like, oh, people shouldn't do this. And I felt victorious, and the instructor actually looked at me. He says, there's a real good chance we could probably have been separated at birth, because I feel exactly the same way you do. My daughter passed the exam. She got her license, and she accredited it all to me, which I don't know if that makes me feel good or bad, but it was kind of an interesting thing. But driving here in the Commonwealth sucks. The other thing that people need to do is before, you should watch the road signs. You should probably, if you're in the fast lane on the turnpike, if you're in the left-hand lane, you should probably wait before 1/8 of a mile before your exit, start to cut over a little bit so you don't have to slow down 3 lanes of traffic to get on the off-ramp. That's another thing I find a little bit frustrating. And I am at this age where I think we should probably just pull these people over right in the middle of the road and execute them, and leave their keys in the car and let someone pick them up and take their keys. That would be fabulous. Anyway, listen, I'm going to bring Josh back up here. You guys have been great. Thank you so much.
All right, let's hear it for Freeman, everybody. Yeah.